This will be part 4 of our critique session. Get my watches all out of the way here. This goes out to Nemo. Nemo, you spoke about organic foods. You want to be careful not to be real chatty at the beginning of your speech. Get to the speech. Get to what it is you're going to be talking about. Please review what it says. Today I'm going to speak to you about. We're going to cover this and this and this and this. Those are good points to get into your speech. Your speech lacked flow. Now, I'm going to read what I said here. The idea is to use your outline as you speak. Your facial expression and your demeanor and your flow is as though you're trying to recall what you really want to say. This speech was very disjointed, far too disjointed. You had far too many vocalized pauses. Your lack of flow made this a very hard to follow speech. Why did you lean into the camera for your banana, for your prop? Keep it at your side. See what happens when you move into a camera? It is very, very disjointing. Now, I can reach right over here to my right. I can bring the banana right here. I have not moved. I haven't done one of these things to move out of the picture. Think about those things and plan ahead when you're doing a speech. You had a lot of ahs, ims, and ums. I'm not exactly sure what your point was for this speech, and you seemed to ramble a lot. Your eyes kept kind of going up, like something was up there, and I'm not exactly sure, but I'll tell you, an audience will start to wonder about your credibility when you do something like that. So work on that. Everybody can learn from these comments to you. All right, I've saved the best to last. This is Ginseng. Ginseng spoke about organ donation. This was as close to perfection as you can get in a speech. Now, I'm fairly sure that Ginseng doesn't think this was her best speech or it's one of the finer speeches ever given in a speech class. But I would disagree with that, and let me tell you some things why. First of all, she did an excellent job with her visuals. Well done in every respect on this speech. Ginseng, I know you probably don't want to talk about this, but let me share this with the class, because if you had done this in a regular classroom, the rest of the class would know this. She started off her speech. Remember, we tell you to be conversational. She started off her speech by saying something to the effect of, in my prior speeches, a member of the audience that I've had in my prior speeches is no longer with us. You may have read in the paper about a car that ran into a limestone structure north of town here in Bloomington, and that car was being driven by, and she names the person. Those of us who live in Bloomington know the story, know it well. And then she goes into the importance of organ donation. I'll tell you what, when you can personalize your point, you can personalize what it is you're trying to say in a real story and talk about establishing credibility. Folks, this was about, I tell you what, I'm looking down the left-hand side of the rubric. There's not a single thing there that's not circled as an E. So that means that everything there was excellent. And then on the other side, on delivery, I have one thing about the visual aid. It could have been a little bit bigger, but I'm not going to quarrel with that. The distracting mannerisms that she may have had were that she kind of moved a little bit. Okay, we can get by that. You know, there are times when the content and the delivery overcomes any other shortcomings of the speech. You may not be the greatest speaker in the world. You may not have the best grammar in the world. But when you speak from the heart and you talk about something that the rest of us can identify with, you have captured us. You have taken us on the same story journey that you're on when you were speaking. I just think it was about as good as you can get. My comments that work on next time: stand still, fix the camera shot a little bit. You still have too much headroom. I'm really sorry about what happened to your friend, but it made your speech delivery one of the most personal and impressive speech deliveries I've heard as a speech teacher. Work for a little stronger ending. You had such a compassionate opening work for a stronger ending on this thing. You mentioned Tim and his example. Not just that I hope you know, meaning the audience, how to do it. You just, I don't know. I don't get speechless about speeches very often, but this is one of them. Don't get too bound up in your notes. I realize you wanted to be precise and you wanted to do this right, and I realize too this had to be an emotional speech for you. I am quite impressed with your performance and your speech in this regard. And Ginseng, this is something that you can build on and celebrate. And I don't know what else to say. It was just so well done in so many respects. The rest of you in the class, think about what we're talking about here. We're talking about being conversational. We're talking about telling a story. Anyone can deliver a set of facts. Anyone could have done a speech about organ donation and how important it is. But if you know someone, if someone in your family or yourself have been the recipient of something, then it's going to be even better. I will tell you that it was kind of interesting in the speaker critiques. One of your classmates was talking about going and listening to a doctor. And he's talking about, the doctor was talking about, I believe, kidney transplants. Okay, he's talking about that. And then he points out in his critique that he himself is a candidate for a kidney transplant. Well, you know what? That just changes everything. When you tell a story, and now it brings new meaning to why you're saying what you're saying, it just brings everything home. That's what I encourage you to work on. Your persuasive speech is coming up, and your special occasion speech after that. 300 points for your persuasion speech. Now, don't get involved in the typical things. You'd be much better off if you worked on something that's not abortion, something that's not Planned Parenthood, something that's not the war in the Middle East. Work on something that you and your classmates can identify with, that hits you in the gut every day. Think about that. Think about what you can do to persuade people about something like that. The special occasion speech is supposed to be something that helps you if you ever have to, for instance, give a toast at a wedding, or you have to say something at a birthday celebration or an anniversary celebration. That's what it's about. Think about that. Think about it in real terms. Maybe it's something that you've done. Maybe it's something you have on your schedule to do. What a great occasion. And remember, when you do that, you want to have something personal about the person you're speaking about. Help the audience identify with and understand why you are saying what you're saying about that person. Got it? I criticized somebody earlier for saying okay, so I'm trying real hard not to say okay. Okay? We'll see you next time. There's still room for some improvement for all of you. Some of you are getting very good, and there are still 430 points left on the table. So go for all of them and have a great week.